Is hard tag too strong? It's just another super dash, right? Why do we need to learn about hard tag if we already know to 2H super dash? Well, hard tag and super dash may look identical, but there's important reasons for using one over the other. And dealing with hard tag can be tricky for different reasons than super dash. What makes someone want to hard tag? In general, there's one big reason: to save their point character. When your point character has a lot of blue health, or is just in a position where you think one more hit could KO them, you're bound to start thinking about how to save them. Hard tag is great here. It lets you swap characters quickly with a homing attack that wins in many situations, beating key blasts and with punishing many moves. So how do we punish hard tag? Just like super dash, ideally we 2H it on reaction for high reward. Then we can choose between a long optimized combo or snapping in their original character. So it's really that simple. Problem solved, just 2H the hard tag. Video done. Okay, maybe it's not that simple. If we want to get away with tagging out our point character, we actually have a bunch of options. Let's go through each situation and what options are available to counter them. For starters, we can cover the ground with an assist before we hard tag. Our opponent can't 2H if they're forced to block. Even if they reflect our assist, they might not finish reflecting in time to 2H our hard tag. If our opponent wants to beat this, then the ground is pretty much off limits. If they take to the skies and float with a super jump, then they're in a prime position to counter our hard tag. Air invincible moves like reversals and level 3s are the easiest to use here, but the most rewarding option is usually to jab the hard tag on reaction. Some characters are better than others at doing this, but I assure you that almost every character can do it if you put in the practice. Getting a combo with their jump L is better in a lot of ways than using level 3, since they'll be building meter, getting corner carry, and they'll still have the ability to snap in your original character. If you notice your opponent struggling to deal with hard tag while they're in the air, then you can purposely wait until you see them jump, before you risk the hard tag. If you don't practice beating hard tag when you're in the air, then your opponents might be able to take advantage of this common situation. Since hard tag is great in scrambles, many people choose to force them before attempting to swap characters. You'll frequently see tournament footage where one player runs full screen towards the opponent before hard tagging in. If their opponent tries to challenge their approach, then the hard tag will likely hit them. Even if they don't commit to anything, hard tagging here can be a bit surprising to some people, so they might not be ready to 2H it. In order to beat this, they pretty much just need to guess what you're trying to do, then patiently hold their ground and wait for the hard tag. Have you noticed similarities between these methods for beating hard tag? Regardless of whether your opponent stays on the ground or takes to the skies, if they want to be prepared to react to hard tag, then they won't be committing to any attacks. So if you know that your opponent likes to look for hard tag in moments when you might be thinking about saving your point character, you can take that opportunity to try locking them down and taking your turn instead. If you manage to land a hit, it could give you a safe, guaranteed way to switch characters by using your supers. As with all things, you should mix up how you hard tag and whether you do it at all. And on the other side, you should mix up between looking to snipe it out and continuing to play normally. We've talked a lot about using hard tag as a means to swap characters, but it's useful for other reasons as well. In situations on offense when you realize that you are negative and about to lose your turn, it can be a strong option. A common example is when your vanish is blocked midair. Experienced players will know that their opponent has the advantage here. They're able to start offense with a fast normal or go straight into a mix-up like a Dragon Rush. Hard tagging here beats almost everything your opponent could do to start offense. If your opponent wants to beat this, then they'll need to give up the chance to start offense and wait for the hard tag instead. Another use for hard tag is on offense, mainly during combos. Since it works effectively the same as a super dash, you can extend combos when your point character's super dash is no longer available. If you don't feel comfortable extending your super dash confirms with assists, then this is an easy alternative. This brings up an important question though. If we can swap characters safely in combos with hard tag, then why do we see top players swap with supers so often instead? The answer is obvious if you don't have assists available, since they can't hard tag in this case in the first place. But there's another reason as well. Anytime you use an assist, there's a cooldown until you can use it again. This cooldown happens after hard tag as well, except this cooldown is noticeably longer. During this cooldown period, your options on offense will be noticeably limited. By swapping characters through the use of supers, you'll endure a significantly shorter cooldown period than if you had hard tagged. Having your assists return quickly will grant you more options on offense and in neutral, giving you a better chance of keeping momentum and opening up your opponent. Let's switch gears and talk about using hard tag for defense. Have you ever heard anyone use the term hard tag OS or hard tag option select before? This usually refers to someone using hard tag defensively. If you hold your assist button, then you'll swap to that character eventually, once there is a large enough gap in your opponent's pressure. If they keep their pressure tight with relatively small gaps in it, then the hard tag will never come. Nevertheless, it's still very useful. If your opponent tries to overextend with a mix-up that isn't properly supported with an assist, then your hard tag might come out and save the day. This option is generally considered to be really strong, and I have to agree. The main takeaway I want you to get from all this is just that small gaps won't be enough to let you get your hard tag, no matter how long you've been holding the assist button. So what can your opponent do to bait hard tag OS? The answer is pretty simple. They just need to stop what they're doing and wait. If they see the hard tag, then they 2H. If they're near the corner, then reacting to such a close hard tag can be difficult, so many players opt to backdash to create some extra space. Stopping pressure entirely to bait this one option seems like a huge commitment, but it really isn't. There's virtually no risk involved, meaning you can still block or go back to neutral. And it also happens to bait more things than just hard tag. If your opponent vanishes, you're already prepared to 2H them. Reflect, hit its recovery. Supers, block and punish. In most fighting games, you'd be surprised by how many options you can beat simply by doing nothing. Another point about hard tag OS, usually when you try to hard tag or use an assist during block stun, the game will put a red marker on that character's artwork. This is the game's way of telling newer players, you can't do that right now, wait a little longer. But this is actually super useful information for your opponent if they recognize the red marker. They'll realize that you're holding the assist button trying to hard tag, then they just need to stop what they're doing, wait for the hard tag, and take their reward. There's a few problems with this though. First, the marker doesn't always show up. It's sorta inconsistent. So even though your opponent can't see it there, you might still be trying to use the hard tag OS without them even knowing. Second, by hitting your assist button and block stun, you can try to make the red marker appear on purpose, but not actually commit to the hard tag. Your opponent might think you're trying to hard tag and stop what they're doing, letting you escape their offense and possibly take your turn back. In general though, I'd advise not focusing too much on the red marker when it comes to baiting hard tag. Hard tag has a few other uses as well. In situations on offense when you could cross up with an instant air dash, you can use hard tag to stay same side. Hard tag is also frequently used as a tool for baiting sparking. You can look like you're going for a mix-up after level 3, but then hard tag at the last second instead. Your opponent will be whiffing spark as your secondary character flies across the screen for the punish. Another more niche use is to swap characters during a block string. Yamcha in particular can lock you down long enough to swap characters and still maintain pressure afterwards. Although we said earlier that hard tagging during combos usually isn't ideal, that isn't always the case. Sometimes it's beneficial to switch characters mid-combo so you can use your supers in a different order. If I'm playing a character with a level 5 super and I want to dump all 7 of my bars, I can't end with level 5 unless that character is in the back. To set this up, I might swap characters mid-combo with hard tag, and then combo into level 1, level 1, level 5. And of course, maybe you just want to Spirit Bomb with GT Goku, so you'll hard tag him in and let it rip. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing to the channel to see everything else that I'm working on. The response to the stuff I've uploaded lately has been great, and I can't thank you all enough. There's a lot more on the way. I'll see you all next time.